the Doom Loop tour of San Francisco, where you could get close and personal to the doom and squalor of downtown San Francisco. Today's podcast is city official forced to resign after offering the Doom Loop walking tour of San Francisco. He did it as satire, but charged $30. The thing sold out. It was wildly popular. And then city officials are like, oh God, no, the Doom Loop tour? Are you kidding me? Shut that bad boy down. And you, Mr. Commissioner, who is in charge of the Office of Committee Investment and Infrastructure, we'll need you to step down. That's what we got going on today. This is so preposterous and so ridiculous. We got to talk about it. Here we go. Let's go. As you know, I'm a big proponent of the Doom Loop tour. I do want to get close and personal to the doom and squalor that is downtown San Francisco. I want to take that tour. I will gladly pay my $30. I'll pay $60 for the VIP experience, right? I get to actually smell the human fecal matter on the sidewalk. I want that in my life. I mean, who doesn't? It just sounds like an amazing thing, right? Go walk the streets of San Francisco, 1.25 tour, 1.5 tour. Well, that was last weekend, and people waited 45 minutes, and yeah, nobody showed up to host the Doom Loop tour in San Francisco. They were too busy at home writing their resignation letter for their position of the Office of Committee of Investment and Infrastructure. Yeah, satire. How did this happen? I remember reading this storyline. It was like, this is weird. The whole story is kind of wonky. But don't turn this podcast off, because the real message here is that we need to promote the Doom Loop walking tour, because we need to show all of these folks in San Francisco that they can have accountability, they can have transparency. Because I'm going to recommend this Doom Loop tour goes for as long as there is a market for it. Free enterprise, capitalism, right? So if you've got enough nonsense on the streets for a Doom Loop tour, I say we run it. And so the Doom Loop tour expires when the streets of San Francisco are safe. How about that? Until then, I say let the Doom Loop tour rip. Just let it go. Just go for it. San Francisco city official has been forced to resign after offering a Doom Loop walking tour to show the city's seedier side. From my understanding, that's not all that difficult to do. But, you know, if you've got 1.5 miles you're getting some cardio for your $30, you're burning. What are you burning? 7,500 calories, something like that. I mean, this is ideal. Smell others' human fecal matter. That's urine. Oh, sweet. Hey, there's a hypodermic needle right there. Oh, they're selling drugs right there. Okay, guys. The canceled tour and the resignation have kicked off a firestorm of controversy from the mayor's office down to the streets of the Tenderloin. For $30, the commissioner for the Office of Committee Investment and Infrastructure, Alex Ludlam, offered customers a chance to get close and personal to the doom and squalor of downtown San Francisco, which is not difficult to do, and you can do for free on your own. But who doesn't want it? I want a t-shirt that says I took the Doom Loop tour. I just do, with, the bridge, Golden Gate Bridge in the background. I mean, who doesn't want that? I need that in my life. Somebody make this happen. Let's make the Doom Loop tour happen. The sold-out weekend tour was canceled, and on Monday, Ludlam resigned, saying it was all satire. It was just one big funny joke. And the causes of the conditions. Okay, here's where we get into, okay, I'm losing my job. I gotta say something responsible because what I did wasn't good. So here's what I'm going to put forth. The causes of the conditions we witness daily are not individual actors, but wide-ranging policies that permit an organized, malicious element to thrive in San Francisco. No kidding. All right. We want to see it. We want to see it on the Doom Loop tour. You're preaching to the choir here. The unchecked drug dealing is plainly the root of our current problems. Agreed. And I want to see it. I want to pay my $30 and I want to go take the effing tour. I do. I just do. Mayor Breed, this is going to be good, right? Mayor Breed was quick to respond saying, the decision to organize and publicize the tour was a mistake. I disagree. It was genius. 100% disagree with you, Mayor Breed. Now, I'm not the mayor of San Francisco, so I'm just some, real estate guy up in Seattle that runs a podcast that every now and then these stories come across my desk and I can't help it. I got to read it. The decision to organize and publicize the tour was a mistake. Nope. It was a stroke of geniusness and it should be moving forward. And a deep error in judgment. There is no error in here. This is exactly what people want to see. And the reason we know that is because the Doom Loop tour, it's sold out. The last podcast I did on this topic, I went to the Doom Loop tour and it said sold out. So this was well before the actual, this wasn't the night of the concert. This wasn't the night of the show. It sold out. It finally sold out. This was like a week before. The Doom Loop tour, there is demand for the Doom Loop tour. People want to see that because they want to be able to help you, Mayor Breed, hold you accountable. There's always this talk of transparency. And there's always this talk of, holding people committed to what they should be. We're going to hold you committed. We're going to run the damn Doom Loop tour until the streets of San Francisco get better. How about that? I say collectively we do this. Now there's no I in team. This is a group effort. Everybody needs to be involved. We got to go promote the Doom Loop tour. We're working every day to address the city's challenges, and our focus remains on doing the work to move this city forward. And a daily reminder that there are challenges and problems in San Francisco, in Seattle, in Portland, in LA, in Skid Row, is for each of them to have a Doom Loop tour. Some enterprising young man or woman out there, let's make this happen. Just make this happen. Can't you imagine? This could be a franchise, the Doom Loop tour. Oh, have you seen it? Have you been on it? Oh, yeah, I have. I've got this t-shirt. I survived the Doom Loop tour of San Francisco's Tenderloin. Recovery advocate Tom Wolfe has given dozens of free tours of the Tenderloin downtown and the Market Street open drug markets to everyone from congressional reps to local officials. And you've seen that on Twitter, but that's not the same as getting down and dirty on the streets of San Fran on your own Doom Loop tour, is it? No, you need to be able to experience these things. You need to smell what you're smelling. You need to be able to watch and see what happens. You need to see what 100 drug dealers all lined up selling, the drugs that are killing people in droves in San Francisco. San Francisco's got an opioid. It's got a fentanyl epidemic going on of overdoses. We need to see what that looks like because you know what? It's not in hiding. It's out in the open. So why shouldn't we take a tour of publicly paid for property, walk down the streets, see the Doom Loop, see what it looks like, hear the sounds of the Doom Loop, look and see with your own eyes, be able to tell your children's children's children you went on the Doom Loop tour. I think there's something to this. I really, really do. This is about raising awareness to change our city's policies and to change the direction of San Francisco to help recover because we love San Francisco. I'm in the same boat here. Again, you're preaching to the choir. We want to make this happen, but there needs to be some accountability. And as long as the Doom Loop tour runs, I'd say there's work to be done. And so that's transparency. We're really honing in on something here, right? But charging for the tour, it sounds like a bit of a grift. Well, you've got promotion, you've got licensing, you should have permitting, all of those things. $30, it's not a grift. That's a bargain. That's a bargain. That's a tour people actually want to take. And again, the original one was sold out. So what other evidence do you need than to say, well, here we are. Del Seymour, he owns a company called Tenderloin Walking Tours and says satire does not work in the current situation. Now, Del Seymour is, he's an older gentleman and he's probably been doing the Tenderloin Walking Tour since way before it became absolutely a train wreck. All right. So his version, he's got to keep the Tenderloin Walking Tours, which he does, in that this is going to be safe. We're just going to walk around and we're going to see some culture. We're going to see some history. We're going to see some of the original things that makes the Tenderloin so special, right? Whereas everybody else just wants to see the squalor and just see the policy enactment in real life. What does that look like? What does the progressive policy actually look like? Oh, it looks like what we're going to see on the next mile and a quarter, mile and a half of walking through San Francisco. That's what it's going to be. Who doesn't want to see that? I want to see it. We're in a serious epidemic, in a serious crisis, and don't need political footballs going back and forth across the field while Tyrone and Sheila are laying down the damn ground. I agree, but the accountability needs to be there. And as long as regular citizens are walking around going, holy cow, look at that, that puts a little more pressure on the mayor and everybody else in this ecosystem to clean things up. I can't think of a better way to shed some light on what is already a wildly out of control program. I mean, to the point where Mayor London Breed is saying, hey, let's turn the UN Plaza. Let's rework that. Let's reimagine and rethink that area. I know we used to have a farmer's market that's been there since 1981. I know we've had a farmer's market there every Saturday and every Sunday and Wednesday since 1981. But you know what? We got a lot of drug dealers in the area. We need to clean the riffraff out. Here's how we're going to do that. We're going to turn the farmer's market area into a skate park with some ping pong and chess. Nah, I say have regular citizens have the option to walk by all this stuff and go, that looks like crap. City officials, you need to clean that up. And they take pictures and they post it to Instagram. They post it to Facebook. Look at how terrible San Francisco is. Transparency. Just make it transparent. It's terrible. We all know this. We can internalize that. Yeah, it's awful. Good Lord. That's why I want to take the tour. See what it's all about. And then have the money go to whatever charity it is that you need. I don't really care. The tour may have been more for local consumption because the tourists NBC area spoke to at the Powell Street cable car turnaround were not interested. I just talked to like 2 or 3. One was a burned out hippie local, right? The other was like kind of scared to go see. I feel bad for them, but he was thinking it was just going to be a tour of just going up to a whole bunch of drug addicts and go, what's going on there, Billy Bob? What are you doing on the ground there? No, you're going to walk around. You're going to see empty storefronts. You're going to see closed storefronts. You're going to have a quick tour. You're going to have a talk about it. You're going to see the needles on the sidewalks. You're going to see the drug dealers. You're not going to interact with the drug dealers. You're not going to interact with the riffraff on the streets because that could get you in trouble. So you got to be rules to this, right? Got to be some rules. No eye contact. No eye contact. Don't do that. If anybody says anything, you just say, how about those cowboys? How about those cowboys? And people just, what are you talking about? It seems there are happier things we could be doing with our time. We came to see the city in its light, not its darkness, said Rick Orcutt of Nashville. Well, maybe you, but people paid for the Doom Loop tour and they were so disappointed. It didn't happen. The tour operator was a no-show. He was like, good Lord, this thing took off on me. Man, what happened? What happened? I am still not convinced on all these details. And I remember saying that in the original podcast. I was like, what? Okay, so you got a city official who's in charge of this, and he's kind of, on the side doing a tour of what he's supposed to be fixing. Okay. How's that going to fly? Well, clearly it did not. So all these little bits and pieces. So maybe this is satire as well. I was never really a city official. I mean, in my mind, I was. I identify as a city official who quit his job because I set up a fictitious Doom Loop tour, sold it out, refunded everybody, had the actual event on Eventbrite. That was one of my discussions earlier with the producer. Next room is, okay, if you got something on Eventbrite and you take people's money, that means you are committed to having that event go through, correct? I mean, if I'm understanding the way that app works, is that not what we're doing? And that is exactly how it went down. But maybe it just got out of hand. Maybe the press, they weren't figuring on all the press. Man, when I saw that Doom Loop tour, I'm all over it. And just, who doesn't want to take that? I mean, some people are going to say, oh, it's just it's too downtrodden for me. I can't, I'm a real people person and I really love my fellow human being. I do too. That's why I want it to get better. And it's only going to get better if you put a big, huge spotlight on it. And nothing says spotlight, but a daily. Maybe we do what would be the best time for a Doom Loop tour? 8 o'clock, just before dark, 8 p.m. We're not doing it in the morning. Everybody's too hungover in the morning. All those whacked out nut jobs on drugs. They don't do early mornings. I mean, the cops will invariably roll in on a sweep at 6 a.m. You know why? Because they don't have their cell phones charged and they're whacked out of their mind on drugs and they're just reeling from the night before. Or, you'll see these people still asleep in their tents on the sidewalk, 11 a.m. because they were up all night doing Lord knows what drugs, right? So you got to do it later in the day to really see what the Tyrone and Sheila laying on the damn ground. Yeah. I mean, you're going to see some examples of humanity at their lowest. You are. That's the whole point, right? Is, hey, this shouldn't be how we let our fellow human being live their life. This is a no-go. Conversation yesterday with a mental health professional. And they were saying, hey, Sean, I actually agree with you on kind of your version of we need to get a whole bunch more folks the help that they need. And the drug addiction is what's driving this. I don't think anybody is disagreeing. So we go back to the statement of the unchecked drug dealing is plainly the root of our current problems. I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. But if you start to arrest all the drug dealers, the optics, difficult, tricky, right? Because we're not arresting and we're certainly not prosecuting drug dealers. We're just letting them go. I mean, that's just what we're doing. You got to throw some people in jail, give them long sentences, keep them off the streets, rinse, repeat, keep doing that. And then you might get somewhere. The system you've got now, which is just let things go willy-nilly, now isn't working. Now you might say London Breed's, really coming down hard lately. You got to do that for years. And that's why we need the Doom Loop tour to exist for years until things get better. And then we can have the, hey, San Francisco got better tour. I think we're onto something here, right? We're onto something. So it seems there are happier things we could be doing with our time. You know what? Not everything is about happy times. Sometimes you got to get down and dirty. You got to see the squalor before you can get an idea of how to make things better. You're going to have to arrest some people. And that's not happening anytime soon. So there could be a long run for the Doom Loop tour, right? That could. Because you can't just sweep this away. Because these are storefronts. These are entire city blocks. You got homeless people just lined up. You got hypodermic needles. You got tinfoil. You got people doing drugs. You got people, physically assaulting others. You got people stabbing other people just randomly. I mean, that's what you've got. When you've got a bunch of people that should be in mental institutions that are taking drugs and they're running around the streets, buying super cheap drugs. That's what you get. That is the basis of the Doom Loop tour, right? It just is. So focusing on what you could be happier things. Yeah. But also we're reasonable people here on News for Reasonable People. We want to see reasonable solutions. And sometimes blasting sunshine up my rear end isn't going to work. And I think we need to take a hard look at what's going on. And what better way than a daily Doom Loop tour? 9 p.m., maybe 7 p.m., during the wintertime, because it's, you don't want it to be quite dark because you could have the purge come down on top of you, right? We came to see the city in its light, not its darkness. Well, Rick Orcutt of Nashville, you're in the minority here. We want to see the Doom Loop tour. We just do. I would have sympathy for them, but I don't think I'd take a tour of that, said Sakan Kidikar of Mumbai. If you saw a tasty little poster of what you might see, then you can go back to Mumbai and say, I saw it all. I saw hypodermic needles. I saw guys smoking fentanyl off of the tinfoil. I saw Lord knows what was going on in that one tent, but there was some commotion in there. Who knows what was happening there? I saw drugs being sold. I saw stolen goods being sold. I saw prostitution. I saw garbage like you would not believe. More garbage than at the dump. Right? I mean, it was a tour of a lifetime, I believe, is what Sakin Kedekar of Mumbai would say. Yeah. I mean, they weren't available. They didn't have the ability to see true marketing of this doom loop tour. It wasn't there. So will this happen? No, it won't. Because you don't have to pay for a doom loop tour. Although if somebody wanted to make it happen, I'd lead the first one. I would be right there with my GoPro going, oh, look at that over there. Loudspeaker. Can you imagine? Just yelling at the drug dealers. Over there, we've got the open air drug market. It's happening. What are you guys doing over there? What are you guys doing? What do you got? What do you got in your pocket there? I see that big wad of cash. Is that a gun in your back? Is that a gun? Jeez. All right, crowd, let's move over. Let's give that guy a little room. He seems to be packing. He's strapping. No, do we do that? How about there might be a little bit of liability? You're walking through the worst part of San Francisco, right? You just are. And who knows what happens there. But if I were a fly on the wall in that tour, just, following people, I think it'd be epic. But the whole thing is nobody wants to deal with reality. Oh, yeah. You can't pay for a tour of that. Why not? Why can't you? Why can't you? Yeah. Somebody should be doing these. Somebody should be doing these in all of these cities where there's the demand for it. Where you've got a supply, endless supply. We know we've got a supply, right? We know we've got a supply. I see it in Seattle all the time. Areas that get cleared out, tents come back a little while later. And after a while, the signs go up. Yeah, they're going to do another sweep because somebody else got assaulted or somebody got killed or there's a massive fire or there was an explosion or a bomb went off. Invariably, that's what you see. And that's what you see in San Fran as well. All right, we got to clear out the drug dealers. We got to clear them all out. We're going to bring in the state police. We're going to bring in, the National Guard. They're going to be here in an advisory role, of course. But I mean, because we can't have them just taking over the role of the police officer. It wouldn't take that much to clear out the drugs. It just wouldn't. It wouldn't. It would take a concerted effort, but we don't stick with it long enough. And start arresting people and start prosecuting them and start throwing them in jail for long, long sentences. Take them off the streets. Send the message that this isn't what we're accepting anymore. Have the daily doom loop tours. Have people, yep, it was still there. Nope, didn't see anything today. Instant feedback to the city officials who are clamoring for transparency, who are clamoring for accountability, because these are all the things that we hear them talking about, wanting other factions to take care of within the city. Well, now that we're asking as citizens, tax-paying citizens, we want to see what they're doing to make this better. What better way than a daily accountability doom loop tour? I'm all for it. Let's make this happen. What do you say? Be funny, right? Yeah. And also very practical and useful. So, what better way to spend $30? I'd say we'd be able to put this on for $20. Could we do it for $20? Can we do it for $9.99? I don't know what the numbers are. Somebody needs to research this. Somebody needs to get down and really crunch some numbers. What could you get away and still break even? Because this thing's going to be around for a long time. You get this bad boy going, it's going to be around for a long time. Well, until somebody gets chased down with a sword by a, homeless dude who's on meth or fentanyl or crack or, and then the doom loop tour might take a little bit of a detour to higher ground. I don't know. But I do think it's interesting that this guy put this thing on. And he's like, this isn't what I thought would happen. This was supposed to be satire, even though he took people's money and he sold out the tour. I mean, lately we've been talking about, stories from The Onion are now reality. This is one of those stories. This is one of those that is so ridiculous that I got to do a whole podcast on that. Originally, I was just going to do a short on this. I was just going to say, hey, you know what? A Doom Loop tour, it didn't happen. And that guy quit his job as commissioner of whatever, yada, yada in the city. I was just going to do it, 60 second. But then I got thinking, it would be funny if that actually took off. We should promote it. So that's what this podcast has been. If you want to promote this, let me know. Message me. I think it'd be funny. Let's do this. Thanks for being here. We'll catch up on the next one. Bye for now.